Welcome to the podcast that is designed to fuel your success in selling technology solutions. I'm your host, Josh Lopresto, SVP of Sales Engineering at Telarus, and this is Next Level Biz Tech. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are wrapping up the interesting topic titled, What Do Propane Tanks, Cows, and Air Quality Sensors Have in Common? I just wanted to make this title as crazy as I possibly could for people to go, what in the world is that I have to watch it? What we got on with us the wonderful Thomas Hamilton of HamBTC to help us wrap up this one. Thomas, thanks for coming on, man.
I truly appreciate you inviting me on. It's an honor, and I feel like a blessing to be here.
Oh, dang. Oh, hi. Geez, I can't let you down at this point. All right, man. Let's jump in here. Before we get started, we talk about HamBTC. Let's kick back to your background. I love asking people this because some people come from totally polar different spaces. Some people have always been in tech. I just love hearing everybody's path. So tell us about, how did you get here?
I got to technology sales. So about 17 years ago, I was looking for a new path, something similar to sales. And funny enough, I answered a Craigslist ad looking for door-to-door salespeople. And it turned out to be a company that had partnered with Verizon for a feet on the street program, B2B, doing selling pots, FiOS, DSL, doing the win backs, things of that nature. And that's where I got my start, knocking doors in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens, and the Bronx, going door to door. And that's always been where I've been accustomed. I'm a really good face-to-face person. So I just took off with it. And then somebody told me about the partner program. And when it felt like it was time to jump ship, when it only took a summer to figure it was time to jump ship, I entered the partner program. I started interviewing some TSBs, and I found one that would work for me, and I was with them for many years before I was again honored to find Telarus.
Love it. All right, I want you to take me back, fellow door-to-door man. I feel like you learn, if you do that, one, you can do anything in life, but two, you learn so much. If you look back to knocking doors, right, just out there in what's got to be one of the toughest areas, what is the biggest thing, whether it be personal, professional? What did you learn, if you look back on that maybe you leverage now or just kind of helped you along the way?
I think, as you said, door to door for a lot of people is very tough and very scary. Perseverance, ingenuity, figuring out where to make your move. Knocking doors in Manhattan. You got to avoid security guards. You got to know what floors you can get to. If you got an appointment on the first floor, you make sure you get to the second floor. If you're on the 44th, make sure you do the 45th and the 43rd, because now you got access. So all those type of things. And also being, New Yorkers are notorious for being rude and not being friendly and talking. So you learn to charm the gatekeeper. You learn to charm the person who actually comes and talks to you, and you improve your pitch more than anything. And then you get through the nose. You get through the nose to find the yeses. So when I took my door knocking skills on the road from New York City and moved it to Charlotte, North Carolina, in the Carolina area, oh my God, these people down here are so nice. This is a cakewalk. It's like, hold on, I'm going from, out of 10 people, 4 or 5 of them being rude to 1 or 2. I'm like, everybody's so nice. And I'm like, I'm so sorry to disturb you. No, it's not a disturbance. I'm like, really? I just came here out of nowhere and I'm not a disturbance. Okay, thank you. And who do I need to speak with? Oh, such and such. You want his email? You want his phone number?
Oh man, that's beautiful. Oh, that's gold right there.
But I think the greatest thing about door knocking, I'll say this is, from my standpoint, is I can read you. I don't have to try and read you through a phone call. I can see your face. Yeah. I can see your interests. Oh, your kid plays Little League. Mine too. Oh, you like football. Me too. And I can do all that. Now that's the first thing I do when I step into somebody's office is I'm scanning everything I can possibly use to make a connection.
Beautiful. That's gold right there. Okay, tell us about who is HamBTC. Where did the business start? And just tell us about the business.
HamBTC, Hamilton Business Technology Consulting. I started HamBTC, obviously, which just took my experience and wanted to make it a nice legal company with my dad's last name on it, to make him proud, and I'm proud of it as well. I am a consultant, 100%. That's what I do. I work with customers from SMB up to enterprise, and some of that comes from door knocking. I've gotten some nice medium-sized customers, or been in some actually enterprise opportunities because I spoke to the low man on the pole and I found my way up. And so I started out with connectivity, voice services. I'm now doing more cybersecurity opportunities, looking and working in more IoT opportunities as well. And now it's just kind of I've attuned my ear to whatever problem or solutions that my customers are having, and finding solutions for that. So that just means I got to listen to folks like you constantly to find out what those new solutions are, because you know what the worst feeling in the world is 2 or 3 months later, and you're talking to your customer, just having a casual conversation, and he says, "Oh yeah, I just implemented this. Oh yeah, they work with me. Oh, I just implemented that. Oh yeah, I could have helped with that. Oh, I'm sorry, I would have come to you, Thomas. I didn't know. Oh well, I didn't know either." So it's staying on top of everything,
Yeah.
and letting my customers know that, hey, if you have a business technology issue, ask me first. And I have customers that will do that. Hey, Thomas, do you do this, or can you help with that? And that is our business.
So as a partner of Telarus, what we're talking about the broader mobility and IoT now, but where you started historically, how do you look at something like this broader area of mobility and IoT?
I see it as an opportunity for discussion and conversation. I see that it, and just learning more and more about IoT, it transposes so many different industries. There's more than one, two, or three different kinds of opportunities out there. I don't know if you want me to go into them, but that's what I got from listening. There are always new IoT solutions out there for problems that folks didn't know they had, or problems that they wish they could resolve.
Yeah, we'll make them keep listening, and we'll get to the example here in a minute. So, talk to me though about the innovation. We got a lot of questions that we ask on this podcast about paying attention to innovation, what's coming next. What are some of the things that you're working on to focus and just keep pace with the innovation, right? I mean, you're out there talking to customers. We were talking about some things that you're doing before we started the recording, but maybe walk us through just what are you doing just to keep tabs on innovation while still doing what you need to do to go sell?
Uh, Listen to your podcast. Hey, listen to
I'll
Chris
take it.
Whitaker's podcast. I also listen to Sam's podcast. And in addition to that, there's some groups and LinkedIn groups that I'm following. Definitely signed up for news and tech articles. Come to my email every day. Set up a couple of Google alerts so that those emails from articles all over the world come in. Try to read. I don't get to do it as much as often as I'd like to, but I can get in some YouTube here and there. Those are help, and it just lets me know what's out there.
Yeah.
If I know what's out there, then I can come to, for argument's sake, Telarus. Hey, do we have that in the wheelhouse? If not, what provider might have it in the wheelhouse that we can utilize?
Good. Okay, so let's get back to the crazy topic, right? The topic of this one is how do and really what do propane tanks, cows, air quality sensors have in common? So, look, I mean, we've talked about the connected cow, right? How to be able to detect where the cows are, the body temperature of the cow, the milk production. And so, that seeing that graphic before, and it gives a good representation of things that maybe people don't think about that IoT helps with, whether that be sensors or connectivity or whatever. So I'm going to leave this really broad for you. How do How do you tackle that with the with the customer in need? Do you see the customers knowing what they need? Are you the one telling them, kind of sparking ideas with that, or how do you approach that?
Right now, I'm in a mode where I'm more so sparking ideas, uh, letting customers know, hey, there's a technology out here that could assist with that. Um, I think the cow thing is really really cool. I don't have the agricultural customers yet, but just the whole technology behind being able to monitor the health of the cow, monitoring how much production they're doing, being able to track data, and data is king. We always say it. Having more information is better than having less information. Uh, Propane monitoring, I think that is so important. I know going to a Home Depot to go switch out the propane tanks in New York, and I'm thinking, I was like, wow, it says flammable. It's sitting in the back of this gas station parking lot, or it's sitting here out in front of Home Depot. Is it safe? Does anybody know if it's getting too hot, cool? Yes, there's one guy with the key that they got to track down in Home Depot somewhere.
Yep.
But what if it's one's missing? I think, those sensors can give you that kind of information, and I think that's it opens up possibilities, and that's I think that's the main thing for me is open up possibilities, and with so many possibilities we can have deeper conversations with our customers, which lead to different opportunities.
So we're going to get coming up here. We're going to get to an example in just a sec, but maybe before we get to that example, let's talk about ROI. I think when we see people and sometimes we approach them with a new technology or something they didn't know that they needed, their brains go to like, okay, well, what's the return on this, right? Maybe they're not thinking like that. So when you're talking to people and you're getting excited about this technology, what is the ROI conversation like? I mean, are they asking it, or is ROI driving it, or business problems driving it? What kind of seeds are you planting or conversations going in there?
So if I may, I'm going to use an example that I got from Epic IO. I went to go visit their facility. I'm in South Carolina these days, so I went up to their facility that's right on the Charlotte border, and they let me tour it, and just the air filter sensor. They had that box that helps with the mold, the mildew, and the smoke smell, and showed and discussed with me how it can be used in property management situations, because I have property management companies in my portfolio. And also, I discussed with someone who I knew had maybe 10 to 12 Airbnbs, and how he utilizes something like that, and just to have further conversation. Sometimes it's good to hear it from the supplier side, and then hear it from the customer side. And this person actually knew about this technology and said it saves him, because if somebody smokes in one of his Airbnbs, he could lose that Airbnb for 3 to 4 days. And that was the conversation I was having with Epic, was that a hotel could lose a business for 3 or 4 days. Well, and if it's $200 a night, then that's $600-700 in revenue, especially in a time crunch where, let's say, we're in March Madness, and the rooms are packed.
Yeah.
There's probably 99% occupancy. You can't afford to lose a room or 3 rooms or 4 rooms, because people are having a great time. So to have a box that could get your room back available in anywhere from 6 hours to 12 hours versus 3 to 4 days of airing it out, that the possibilities are there. And that's the conversation I was having with a friend of mine who had the Airbnbs. Was like, yes, he's like, it saves him money. It saves him money, and it makes him money, because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise he would be taking multiple days of loss.
Yeah, love it. Good ROI. Okay, all right. Example time. So, walk us through an example that you got pulled into. I'd just like to get into the weeds into these, right? So people can see kind of what the nuts and bolts are. So I'm just going to throw out a couple things, right? If you can cover one or two of these. Was it, when you got into it, was it exactly what you were told the problem was going to be? Did you replace it, or did you put in the kind of technology that you thought was going to need to be put in? I mean, I kind of like to hear, how did you get into it, and what was it really that was needed in there? So maybe just walk through that.
Wow. So I'm thinking of an example of one of my credit unions. I think the conversation started at They're using IoT for weapons detection. I'm sure you've heard of that one. And it went from weapons detection to detecting when somebody's on premise and they maybe shouldn't be. When somebody's outside the premise, I found out my customer has an issue with vagrants defecating near his side door at night
Jeez.
or shooting up at night, and the sensors could help with that, alerting them, alerting the officers that hey, somebody is near the credit union side door. I think the other conversation was dumpster fires as well. And honestly, as somebody who specialized originally in connectivity, I'm not thinking about dumpster fires. That's the fire alarm guy.
Yeah.
I don't help you with that. Um, or even security on the outside. I'm not thinking about that either. And just be able to have those opportunities. And like I said, it started. The conversation started with, well, hey, I heard of this technology that can detect weapons, detect somebody has an unholstered gun, and that started the conversation, and it just led to quite a few other places. I think we also talked about the room. I'm sorry, what's the room? Josh,
What?
what's the room where all the technology is?
The IT closet.
The IT closet, the server room. Thank you very much,
Yes.
because I was having that brain fart.
It is Monday.
It is Monday. So the server closet, the AC unit was going down. Now this is a credit union. They can't afford for the server closet to go down, and one of the AC units was going down. So
Ooh.
to get an advanced alert on that is also very possible. Is also very important to them, to know ahead of time that hey, we may need to have a repair guy come and fix this today while it's breaking, and not tomorrow when it's broken.
Ooh, it's good. Oh, that one definitely gets a. All right, so walk us through then. Final couple thoughts here. If I'm a partner and I haven't ventured into this area yet, you've ventured into this area. What would you coach another partner on as far as how to talk to this with their customers? Right? Are you just teeing it up via a certain couple questions? I mean, what advice would you have?
So if I was a new partner going out, I would take a look at the industries that I'm working in, and primarily, and then I would ask questions of the suppliers. Hey, how do you help in these industries? Like I said, I have property management companies and real estate companies in my portfolio. I got great ideas on how to approach them. I had credit unions. I got great ideas on how to approach them. I have restaurants, which are different ideas. Walk-in, you want a sensor for your walk-in refrigerator. You want a sensor for your AC unit on the top because nobody wants to sit in a hot restaurant. And you can't. And if your cooler goes out on your day off, now you have thousands of dollars of spoiled food. Um, I just there's so many other things. Like I had a sorry, I had a opportunity in a community center, and they had lots of land, and they're concerned about people coming into the community center's land in the middle of the night. They also have a daycare, so they want to know where the kids are and did any of the kids stray away, and all that is under IoT, and it's amazing what can be done. And then I know we didn't even get into construction, so I mean there are all these different opportunities in different industries. So I would say to someone, if you focus on a specific vertical or two or three, I would start talking to some of the suppliers. Well, how could you help me in that vertical? What are some of the things that other customers in that vertical have done? Just ask, and they'll give you the questions to ask your customers, and then that'll open up the door for not only IoT services but some of the traditional services as well. That's one of the biggest things that I take away from hearing you and Chris talk. It's like, okay, so now we put in the IoT sensors. Well, okay, we need better connectivity to support those IoT centers. Okay, but now we need to secure them with security, and it's like, oh, everything is just a loop, and it just brings you into one conversation, into another conversation, into another conversation, which it brings up revenue for us,
Yeah,
is what our goal is.
it's good. I think that feels like to me that puts a little bit of bow the title of this whole talk track. We asked this crazy question of what do all these tanks and cows and sensors and everything have in common? I think the reality is what they have in common is they're creating a lot of potential unnecessary work and unnecessary extra cost to these items, short of any sensors or any notification or any alarms or any alerts that are unified together that can correlate that data back to the customer, right? They're causing unnecessary problems for the customers. So when we start talking about these sensors and the data, to your point, and adding that onto these items, it tells a story, and it helps the business be more efficient, and it helps them, I think, modernize and think of it in the way that they didn't. And I love your idea there of figure out where your customers are, your prospective customers are. And, just like back in the day of when we were selling UC, you'd go door to door and you'd look over the counter there and see what kind of phone system they had, or you'd call into the business and see where you got stuck. I love it. That worked great for a lot of people, and people use the heck out of that. And so I love it. Double down on this strategy. I think that's awesome advice.
Definitely. It's funny because I've looked over the counter. I still look over the counter. What
You
kind of
have
phone?
to.
Is that a Mitel? Is that an NEC? What is that? The old Nortel? Okay. Write this down. Come back.
Yeah, that's right. Put it in the CRM. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is great. I mean, it's a great opportunity for partners, and it's just to have conversations that you wouldn't have. And IoT sensors, generally speaking, depending on what they're for, can be inexpensive. So it's an easy sell, and then you just stack onto it.
Absolutely. Okay, final thoughts here. Think future. As we look at this, we think, 2024 and beyond. You've done a great job, I think, educating people on what to look at, how to have these conversations right now. So if we look out just a little while, the next year plus, from your perspective, anything going to change or anything that is going to change that you think will impact any of the advice or any of the talk track we just mentioned?
I think as IoT sensors becomes more prevalent and more common, the conversation will change, just as to, instead of explaining to somebody what it could possibly do, you're now just telling them, hey, this is what I have. The same way as you brought up with UC. When UC first came out, we were explaining in order to sell. Now it's, well, can it do this? Can it take text messages? Can it can voicemail the email? They're asking you if it has these features versus you're telling them what features are available. And I think that's what the conversation will just change, because customer knowledge will improve.
I love it. We'll wrap it up right there. Okay. That's all I got. Thomas, man, thanks so much for coming on. We covered a lot of good stuff today. Really appreciate it, buddy.
I appreciate you again for having me. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. That wraps us up for today. I'm your host, Josh Lopresto, SVP of Sales Engineering, Thomas Hamilton, HamBTC. We're done talking sensors, IoT. Until next time, this is Next Level Biz Tech.
Next Level Biz Tech has been a production of Telarus Studio 19. Please visit Telarus.com for more information.